Well, internationally renowned reggae artist Peter Tosh, known for hits like Legalize It, Bush Doctor, Johnny B. Good, and Equal Rights, was born Winston Hubert McIntosh on October 19, 1944 in my Paris, Westmoreland, Jamaica. Tosh, along with Bunny Wailer, Bob Marley, they were the original members of the famous Wailers band that, of course, rose to international acclaim. And as he said this morning on Mic Check, we have the pleasure of speaking to Niambe McIntosh, Peter Tosh's youngest of 10 children. And Niambe was born in Jamaica and raised in Boston. She's currently the administrator of the Tosh Estate. She holds a master's degree in education and a bachelor's degree in engineering. She recently founded the Peter Tosh Foundation to provide medicinal research, consultation, and advocacy for the legalization and responsible use of cannabis. In her capacity as administrator of the Tosh Estate, Niambe, of course, travels the world to champion the same tenets as her late father and many others before her. So there you have it. Our special guest on Mic Check, of course, Peter Tosh's daughter, Niambe McIntosh.
I need equal rights.
Peter McIntosh. And now, Anthony Turner, we will entertain his youngest daughter, Niambe. Good morning.
Good morning, Russell. How are you?
I am blessed. I woke up this morning, my 2 feet touched the ground, and I can listen to your father's work, which is indeed fabulous.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was honored by the introduction. Jeez. I'm so humble that I sometimes forget all that I've accomplished, all that I've done. But so thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. And as we welcome you to Groovin Radio, Anthony, in my opening statement there, I said that Peter Tosh work has not gone unnoticed here. We are one of the few programs who continue to carry on the legacy of Peter McIntosh, and he has done so much for not only our music but for our culture. And before we even get started this morning to talk about what's going to take place in Jamaica with the celebration and the museum, you being a daughter of Peter Tosh, growing up the daughter of Peter Tosh, what was that like for you?
I'm always asked that question, and so I'm the youngest of 10. I have 9 other brothers and sisters, 5 girls and 5 boys, and so I have one other brother from my mom, Tosh one, and so we moved back to Boston when I was really young. So I think that, and my father died in 1987, and so I actually didn't get the opportunity to know him the way a daughter would know her. But at the same time, his presence kind of was always around. With his music, his message, I've always been humbled. I always just felt like I've had something powerful within me, something inspirational within me, and but always just kind of moving with humility. And so I think that growing up as the daughter of such a great man has always just been kind of humbling, and it's an honor really to just kind of relive his legacy now and try to promote it and advocate for it. And so it's been a really good thing.
Your dad's legacy is very rich, and when I say rich, it is super rich, because Breadman, you can say that Peter Tosh is really a part of our history. He's a part of our culture, and when you listen to the work, the body of work that your dad has left us, it is just a masterful piece of work. Definitely. And it keep on inspiring us today, Anthony. It keep on moving us forward. When you sit and you listen to a song like Equal Rights, we have been fighting for equal rights as a people for a long time. Yeah. And we don't want no peace. We need equal rights. And
the thing, you're absolutely right. And the thing about equal rights is that it's a message that's universal. I think that's one thing that people are starting to learn. New fans are starting to, as they learn about my dad, they feel a connection where his music is timeless. His music is inspiring to every single generation that is out there. From when you're young, we have teenagers and what's going on in America right now, what's going on across the world. I think that he's history. He's a part of our history, and that's why not to connect it back to the museum. That's why it was very important that a museum be opened up to kind of spread that message and remind people of why it is important to know who Peter Tosh is.
You are an educator. You have a master's degree in education and a bachelor's degree in engineering. Is there a particular reason why you went into education?
The main reason was because I love children. I love to teach. I love to inspire. I love to help my people. I love to bring up. I tend to have a connection with children, and so I teach first and foremost just to inspire the next generation to be leaders, to be intelligent, to be thinkers. And so that's what kind of pulled me into the direction of education. I was always good at math, and so that's how I ended up in engineering. But once I was there, I felt like something was missing. And so the way it just ended up just in kind of by gravitational pull, I ended up in education and then went back to school to get my master's.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of the youngest child of Peter McIntosh, and it's an honor to have you on this program. A couple months ago, we had the opportunity to talking to your brother Tosh One. And this question now, Breadman, I do wonder, do you really realize how powerful your dad is? I mean, when you sit as a family and you talk about Peter Tosh, has it ever occurred to you that your dad is a very powerful figure in this world?
I know that, and that's why I kind of hold these reins, because when you know that you're sitting on this diamond, this gem of knowledge, this tool, this resource that I feel like needs to be a part of, like I said, our history. Because once we know ourselves, because Peter is a part of us and our legacy and our history, there's so much more that we can do for our community and for our country and for our world. So that's how, when you ask that question, I do know. I definitely know. And so there's a lot of work that has to be done. And so I'm trotting on that journey.
Anthony Turner.
Yeah, man. Well, good morning, Nyame.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, so when I look at the catalog of songs that Peter recorded, and, Peter was considered a militant reggae singer, legalized it, bush doctor, so long before it became popular to talk about legalizing herb. Peter put it on wax and put it out there and owned it. How you think he would be feeling today to know that, his dream for herb to be legalized is being legalized not only in the U.S. here, but in Jamaica and other countries in the world?
I think that he would definitely be honored and be excited to know that we've made some steps in the right direction. But my father is a revolutionary. He's always 2 steps ahead of the game, and he sees also some of he sees a lot of the politics that happen in certain decisions. So, although we're making those steps forward, we still have so many of our people that are locked up in prison for cannabis, serving years upon years. And so there's this contrast between, this progressive movement and legalization, but then you have so many people that are suffering by the backlash of the injustice system. Where you have corporate America benefiting, and then you have so many minorities that are not. And so I think he would see see it from both lenses, and really have a focus on how we can change that, the latter part, to kind of help progress our people and help educate and get our people out of prison and become leaders in the industry, because I feel like a lot of us are being excluded out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Niambe McIntosh, Peter Tosh's daughter, and something very important is about to happen in Jamaica. Not only that, we're gonna get a chance now, Breadman, to visit and see the work of this great man, Peter McIntosh. Yeah, and if he had a crystal ball, Anthony, he will sing like this. Peter McIntosh. It is called Crystal Ball. And the crystal ball is about to go up in Jamaica. The voice and the work of Winston Hubert McIntosh, OM, Order of Merit. Now, Niambe, when you look into the crystal ball of the Tosh estate, what do you see? What do you see?
Oh man. I always tell my family, there's so many of us. I have 25 nieces and 25 plus, because I haven't counted. I think we might even be into the 30s, nieces and nephews. And so we're a big family. And so when I always share, I inspire and I motivate, but I see really great things. I think that everything happens for a reason. My father passed away over 30 years ago, and so now I just feel like my mother always shares a quote that he said to her. He said, when people know my music, it's going to be a new music. And I feel like that's kind of what to come, where it's his time to be celebrated, to be honored, to be remembered, to inspire, to educate. There's so many avenues, from social justice to legalization to the bush doctor aspect of it. Everyone's moving towards a consciousness and health and mind, body, and spirit. And I think my father embodies all of those levels in his legacy and in his message.
He was a radical at heart. His work constantly remind you of who he is and what he's searching for. Black dignity. And even today, as a black man living in this country, his work, his message resonate, Breadman.
Yeah, definitely. And in that time, there was, for him, the messages that he was sending, I kind of understand what she said when she said that he had a quote that his music, when people start listening to his music, is going to be a new music, because he was sending those defined messages in his music from so long ago, and we're seeing them come to fruition now. As far as the legalize it aspect of it, you see that come into fruition. I have a question. I'm not sure. How old were you when your father passed?
I was 5.
You were 5?
5 years old, yeah.
The second part of the question is, do you have any distinct memories of your father, like certain lessons that he tried to instill in you? Because it seemed like he was a teacher at heart. When he passed, I had moved already back to Boston, and so he was a musician, Okay.
And so I don't have those distinct memories, and so a lot of it is the experiences. It's kind of odd that I'm the one kind of at the realm. It's ironic, whereas I'm the youngest out of the 10 of us, because everyone else definitely had that opportunity. And unfortunately, that was kind of taken from me. But at the same time, me having this, being at this throne, so to speak, I've been given the opportunity to kind of relive and that connection, almost a rebuild. There's times when this is mystic, but there's times I walk into a store, and the second I walk into the store, his song comes on. And in Boston, that's not even normal. Like, you don't hear reggae when you walk in the stores in Boston.
True.
I'll go into a department store, and then, you know, One Foundation come on, and it'll be his verse. It won't even be the rest of the song. And so I feel like he's with me now. He's with me now, telling me that I'm doing the right thing, telling, you know, with the family, letting us know that there's great things to come. And so, although I can't remember, you know, I don't have that experience of having him in my childhood directly, I think that he's always been there, you know, in many different ways.
Nyambe, when you walk into a public space, say you walk into a department store and you hear a Peter Tosh song playing, what goes through your mind?
At that time, I know that he's telling me that I'm on the right track. Because it's not, you know, it's timing. You know, we can be anywhere in this world at any point in time, and you know, something may hold me up from going to a restaurant, and the minute I get there, I sit down, and then the song comes on, and it's literally within the first 5 minutes, and this has been happening to me more and more as I kind of, you know, get older and take on this journey. And so it's humbling. I'm happy because you know, some people may be frightened at the thought, like, whoa, this is spooky, but for me, I'm just reminded that this is the work that needs to be done. I'm on the right track. I keep my family unified. As much as there's been in the media, one thing at the end of the day, we love each other. We're happy. Everyone's proud of this journey that we're taking. And so it's humbling, really. You know, it's just great.
Have anyone ever said to you that your father may just be a genius? May have just been a genius? And before you answer that question, listen to this song. And audience, listen to this song from Peter McIntosh. And when we use the word icon for Peter McIntosh, we make no apologies for it. Peter McIntosh is an icon. And as I said before, he has the OM, the Order of Merit, which I think is Jamaica's third or fourth highest honor. Long overdue. The museum will be unveiling real soon, October 19th. This one is called Fools Die for Want of Wisdom. Minutes long. And if you listen to this song, that's why I personally said that Peter Tosh was a genius. When you listen to the words of this song, and there are many more that we're going to play this morning, that is going to show you how great of an individual this little Rasta boy from Westmoreland is. And when you look at where Peter Tosh came from, Nyambe, Anthony, Breadman, and listening audience, you must wonder, what university did Peter Tosh attended? Anthony?
Yeah, man. Powerful lyrics. And while you playing that song, something just came to my mind, and I wanted Niambe's thoughts on it, because Peter Tosh was a Rastaman at heart. He advocated for the Rastaman religion. But in 2007, the Anglican Church in Jamaica included a song, his take on Psalms 27. It was included in a hymnal by the Anglican Church. What are your thoughts about this, Niambe, and the family's thoughts about it?
Well, I first would just correct you and say he wouldn't consider Rastafarian a religion, because he was against all the isms and schisms. But, I think that there is just a consciousness that is starting to develop in us, where my father kind of lived it and preached it all along. To be Rasta, or to really, for him, was to just be righteous. It was to be kind. It was to be loving. And so people that know him well, because he had an image as a rebel, I think, to so many people, to so many outsiders. But every day I'm meeting people that had a close relationship with him, and they're sharing how he was a good person. He always would give. He would always try to help out, within his community, or and so that presented in his music, and I think that's a philosophy that is universal, no matter what religion you practice, or no matter what your background is. And so it only seems right that his song would be accepted into what is considered a righteous piece of literature, as type of something to kind of motivate and inspire and to sing about, to sing.
The movement of Rastafari can get them confused. Yeah, it's a way of life. It's not a religion. And it's a way to live, upful and bright. And the song you speak of, Anthony, it is called Creation by Peter McIntosh. You think that the master's degree that you hold in education probably was meant for your dad? The bachelor's in engineering, Anthony, was probably meant for Peter McIntosh, because Rex Netherford once told me when he was writing the book Rastas in Kingston, he oftentimes wondered too, where did the Rastas get their education from? Because they were just such bright people. The information that they had, the information they were sharing in the universities around, they weren't sharing that kind of information. Yeah. So when you hear a song like "Fools Die for Want of Wisdom," when you hear a song like "Creation," you know that this man was special indeed.
Right.
So now, when we talk about what's going to unfold in Jamaica in a matter of weeks, how does that make you feel now? You, the daughter of Peter McIntosh, to see this happening in front of you, how does that make you feel?
I'm filled with joy, to be honest. We've come such a long way, you know. My father was murdered in 1987. And so, you know, it's from there was kind of, there's been so much that has transpired over the past 30 years. You know, and so we're now at a time where we've, as a family, as his offspring, you know, what's left to carry on his legacy, we've come together and we've rebuilt so much. And now we've gotten to this point where now we're opening up a museum and it's joyous. I can't even imagine, I can't even put it into words, you know, but it's an amazing thing to know that we're here. Like we've made this accomplishment, and so there's so much more to be done with the museum. You know, it's going to be a staple. It's going to be a staple in Jamaica, and it's going to be what the world recognizes as a piece of history. And so, you know, although you know some people would say, you know, it's, you know, he's a musician. But my father was so many things. You know, he taught and educated in so many ways, and so I think that it's just honor. It's an honor to know that this is another kind of achievement that we've accomplished.
The location for the museum, it is going to be renamed the Peter Tosh Square. Anthony, when you go to Jamaica now, you can visit Peter Tosh Square. That is special.
Very, very, very special. And so we're at, you know, it's going to be at Pulse, which is right in the heart of New Kingston. And so, you know, I think that it being in Kingston is very, very important. It's the nation's capital, and you know, now we're bringing, you know, adding this attraction to kind of bring something that's very, very important to that community.
October 22nd, there will be this massive presentation celebrating the work of your dad. Are you putting yourself in that frame of mind? I mean, I don't want to bring anyone else in this interview, Anthony. I'm tempted because for a long time, Peter Tosh has lived in the shadow, Anthony. Peter Tosh have lived in the shadow. And finally, he's been recognized the way he should have been recognized a long time ago. Eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Grasclem, you're talking about, I had the opportunity to see Peter Tosh perform in the flesh once in my life. At a time when I really didn't even understand, because this was at the One Love concert back in Jamaica. And was a little lad. And I'm just kind of reliving those moments in my head as we were talking to his daughter and seeing him on stage, being the militant singer on stage, and, you know, him using some words and expressions that at the time people call them bad words, but, you know, good words.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, and Breadman, I want to play one more song. We got 4 minutes to the top of the hour. And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. There are a lot of questions coming in. Some of them I will not even dare venture or ask. But there's one song one song that Peter Tosh did, Anthony, to make this is the song that let people know that, yeah, anything that anyone else could do, Peter could have done it better. He is the toughest. The voice of Peter McIntosh.
Yeah, this is Dwayne Stevens from Augustown.
I'm Fiona. And I'm Marcia Griffiths.
Well, you don't know it's a girl, Ikea.
Yeah, and I'm French Caperang speaking.
Hey, yo, what up, y'all? It's Jermaine Morgan.
Blessed of Massive. This is Morgan Heritage.
My name is Freddie McGregor.
Y'all, this is Mr. Vegas.
Y'all, this is the Queen of Dancehall, Lady Star. It's all about Groovin Radio, and you're locked in with Ross Clan and the Breadman. You don't know.
This is what everybody's talking about.
Groovin. Oh, jamming to the radio.
So as I welcome my special guest back to Mic Check this morning, I say, welcome Nyambe, welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, when you hear your dad saying that, boy, them have to get a beating, what do you think he's talking about?
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Well, you can talk about it if you want to know, because a lot of people around here need to get a beating.
Oh gosh, tell me about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's on many levels. You know, in the classroom, sometimes I'm like gonna have to get a beating. Even to the people that sometimes, I've taken this journey. I've taken over the estate since 2009.
Right.
And so it wasn't like it was something I was on a mission to do. I share with people that, I had one brother in Jamaica, Dave, I love him to death. And then I have another brother here, Tosh-Daughter, and they're both very strong-willed, very opinionated. And so, but they clash.
Right,
they love each other to death, but they are. You know how two men can be sometimes. No disrespect, men.
Yeah. well, let's get into this now, because Kingston Jamaica is about to come alive.
Yes.
October 22nd, there's going to be this tribute to your dad. Quite a few people are on board. You want to talk about the celebration that's going to take place, and we want the diaspora to get involved with this in a Breadman. We want everyone to be a part of this, because it is very important. And Anthony, as I said before, for too long, Peter McIntosh has lived in the shadow of his other band members, and in particular, Anthony, when you talk about the Wailers, one name jump out all the time, and that is the name of Bob Marley. And a lot of people don't realize that Peter Tosh was once the lead singer of this group. He was the leader of this group. And whatever business arrangement Bob and the rest of the band members had with Mr. Chris Blackwell, things got changed. But Peter Tosh work has never changed. It still remain the same. And finally, the world will get to see it. So talk to us about the celebration that's going to take place on October 22nd.
Okay, so on October 22nd, that's going to be the grand celebration for the museum grand opening. We have Word, Sound, and Power coming back to Jamaica, reuniting. We have Chronix, we have Tyrus Riley, Andrew, my brother Andrew, my nephew Dre Tosh, the next generation, singing, and carry on his grandfather's legacy. Luciano, Marcia Griffiths, and even still we have more musicians. There's so many people that want to be involved in honoring this very, very monumental occurrence in history. People can buy tickets at petertosh.com. But it's going to be at Pulse. The concert starts at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. And just to backtrack, because there's a series of events. The grand opening is actually on his birthday, October 19th.
Right.
And so that's when it will be kind of a VIP. You know, all of the people that knew him well are welcome. The Prime Minister has been invited and has, let the public know that he's endorsing the museum here in Kingston, Jamaica. And then Thursday at the University of West Indies, which is October 20th, is going to be a symposium. We're going to have Roger Steffens. We're also going to have Dr. Carter Mathis out of Rutgers University in New Jersey. So we have these intellectuals that are going to kind of bring that aspect, which I think is very important, to make sure that we're reminded and educated on his social impact into humanity. Friday is Friday's actually just going to be a press conference, but then October 22nd is the kind of culminating event where all of the musicians have a great concert in his name. And then on the the 23rd, which is the Sunday, there's a bus trip that's headed across the country to go to Belmont, so that we can all make sure we touch Peter before we leave the island. So at Belmont, Peter Tosh Memorial Garden, there'll just be a bus trip so that anyone who wants to just visit my dad and have a word or two, I always make sure I hail him up before before I leave. But we have a great...
Just to tell people, because when you say Belmont, a lot of people may not even be aware that you're talking about. People from Westmoreland, Belmont is right there in a place called Bluefields in Westmoreland. That's where Peter Tosh is laid.
And I realize that there's a lot of distinguished guests invited to this. Now, let me ask you a question. How is the Minister of Culture, the Honorable Bobsy Granger, how has she embraced this whole mission?
Well, we've gotten a lot of support. We've gotten a lot of support from all of the cabinets within government. And so we do expect that the VIP party will be a good one to kind of really sit and meet these people, but also look at ways that we can collaborate, because this is such an important part of Jamaica. And so Minister Grange has been definitely supporting everything that we've been doing.
One thing I wanted to ask you about the museum, because when I think about Peter Tosh, I think about some famous artifacts that he has left us, including the M16 guitar and, of course, that beloved unicycle that we used to see him ride and transport him around. Talk to us. Those will be on display, and I mean, I know there was some stuff in the news. So can you just clarify about that M16 guitar?
Yeah, the M16 is going to be there. The Mystery Grammy is also going to be there. And so people will have a chance to really see up close and personal items that, well, the Grammy, my father got posthumously, but everything else, these are his items, things that belong to him and that he used, that he was connected with. There's even a songbook. That's going to be there, and you can kind of see his writing. And I got a chance to look at that back in February, and it was, it's I don't know, I can't even describe the emotion that you feel when you hold your father's writing in your hands. So it's very powerful. But we have these great designers that came and designed the museum, and I think that people are going to be, the fans are going to be really excited to actually see this in living color.
I have a very burning question, and I'm going to ask it now. Any response from the Marleys?
Any response from the Marleys? Well, Kamani Marley is always a supporter.
rebel with a cause.
He's like he's definitely like a brother to us all. Andrew has a really close relationship with him. And we've reached out to to Sedella, and she's definitely led. I don't know if they're attending. That's, I can honestly say I don't know that, but we've been in communication in the last few months where trying to. I think it's important for that unity to be, strong and visible to the public.
It's a burning question I had from the top of this interview. Breadman, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question from before. Basically, I know throughout your life you've had numerous accounts of how your father was, different anecdotes about his mannerisms and his whole personality. Any of these stories ever jump out at you and make you say, you know what? That's something I would do. That I even get that from.
Well, I guess the latest is kind of, just a simple thing is, what is a few things? Now you got me thinking. I have friends that tell me that I have a tendency to kind of walk my own path. Colleagues, even at work, where I'm a teacher, and I have a colleague that would say to me, what to other people, like, don't do what Niambe does. For some reason, she just get away with a whole bunch of stuff that not the average person can say in a classroom. But I've heard a story of, I think my father's kind of rebel personality, where he likes to kind of walk his own path, just because he sees things as he sees it, even with language. Where they have people speak good words and quote unquote bad words. I find myself, when I'm with my family, all types of words start flying, but I'm like, if that's the only word I feel, that's the word that's going to embody what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I get you.
Then I'm going to say it. And when we talk about bad words, even the song, "Oh, just because, this is radio, I'm going to be respectful." But there's a title of a song that is titled a Jamaican expletive. But the message in the song is, I came upon this land to guide and teach my brother man, but the title is an expletive.
Yeah, man, that's
And so within, everything that I kind of do, I may say, what the, but at the same time, I'm preaching love, unity.
If I play that song this morning, Anthony, it says, hold on, it says, well, let us listen to Bush Doctor before we kind of wrap up all of this, because this is great. This is fabulous. I mean, Saturday, October 22nd, will be that big celebration in Jamaica, but it's almost a week long, celebrating the work of Peter McIntosh, which is just so long overdue. Peter Tosh has lived in the shadows of Marley's for a very, very long time, and I'm just so delighted to see this come to light, and I'm sure the entire family is delighted to see Peter Tosh's work going up on display in Jamaica, so the world can come and see. So let's take a listen to the Bush Doctor himself. Yeah. But the mere fact that we're gonna shut it down right here, Anthony Turner, I think the world owe Peter Tosh, a lot for the legalization of marijuana. He has been on the front line of this for a very long time.
One of the first advocates.
And to hear and to see what has transpired over the last couple of years and couple of months here, even in these United States and even down in Jamaica, it is just great to see. Finally, someone listened to Peter McIntosh. Someone listened to the Rasta community and says, okay, let's use it for medicinal use. Let's try it. Let's see how it works. Now, when you see that, when you hear these things, Nyambe, and when you see the work unfold in front of your eyes, it must make the family proud, huh?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think I think that's why we're able to stay strong and united, even no matter what transpires. We always stick together, and so we're very proud of this work that we're doing and this mission and the accomplishments that we've made. And so, I know that we're wrapping up, but I just want to make sure that if anyone wants to kind of be a part of the celebration, whether they come and fly to Jamaica and come down, or they have to stay home and do so, make sure you just check out the website PeterTosh.com. And so there's so much information there. All of the lineup is there, the days, where all of the events will be held, information as to how they can get accommodations. So I just want to make sure that people know, because it's the purpose.
Definitely.
Check out PeterTosh.com, yeah.
PeterTosh.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor, it's a privilege to have one of the offspring of Peter McIntosh on this program. And Peter has stood firm in a Babylon for a long time. There's no way we could have done this program, Anthony, without playing powerful individual. In closing, Nyambe, if there's one thing you have to share with the world about your dad, if there's one little thing that you would have to share with the world about your dad, Winston Hubert McIntosh, what would that be?
It would be that my father lives in all of us. We all have a rebel. We all have a revolutionary inside of us. We all have someone eager to learn and educate others living within us. So go find your piece of Peter Tosh. Go learn about him. Check out the website, PeterTosh.com. And teach him to your children. Educate him about your kids. Spread his message. Introduce his music to the next generation. Do your part, because he's going to help us move forward as a people.
Yeah. Breadman, in closing.
Well, in closing, I'm very glad that we were able to have this interview with you this morning, Nyambe. And
thank you.
I'm glad that we was able to even talk about your father. Your father's one of the musicians in Jamaican music that I always felt like a connection to. And before I even found out that we were both born in the same week of the year. And I feel really glad to even find out that this museum is going to be opening on my birthday. So I'm very glad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Anthony Turner.
So you coming, right? You coming? I'm gonna see y'all, right?
Definitely, Anthony. In closing.
Yeah, man. Well, for me, Peter, there's a special connection with Peter. Because he's from the same parish that I grew up in, and
Westmoreland.
I know exactly where he grew up. I used to see him down there, and. Peter is a man who I'm glad finally, as they said, nothing happens before the time, and I think the time is right now. And we're just encouraging people to research a little bit more about Peter Tosh. His songs are powerful, and research a little bit more. And the more you get to know him, the more you're gonna love him.
Definitely. Peter Tosh's youngest daughter, Niambe McIntosh, and she spoke about the launch of the museum, which will take place in Jamaica officially on October 19th. Go to petertosh.com. Go on to petertosh.com, ladies and gentlemen. Learn about this great individual who has done so much, not only for Jamaica, not only for our music, but enlightening black people around the world. Breadman,
yes.
Until tomorrow evening. Nyambe, anything else you want to share with us before we say ta-ta?
Well, just thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was a great start to my morning. So thank you.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure.
Breadman, make myself your lively, is not a dead man.